It's kind of funny. Good morning. Brendan Rendo here with the Homes in Orlando team, and joined again with Joe. Glad to have you back.
What is up?
Saw from the pictures your trip was very successful.
Yes.
I think that's awesome. That's really cool. So, anyways, good morning, everyone. We are the Orlando Real Estate Buzz, and this morning, we're going to talk about the jump in inventory, because
It was just a little jump, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well,
Nice little jump. But what? I apologize. Some computer difficulty this morning, so our slides aren't available. But I love computers, really, sometimes. But just we wanted to go over this morning the increase in inventory, because since January 1st, we have had a 96% increase in inventory.
So basically doubled inventory.
We have doubled our inventory.
Which in January we were really, really low.
We were extremely tight. If you remember right, we were all fighting, throwing in multiple offers.
Yeah.
Praying, please let us be the one, writing those nice letters to everybody saying, hey, we've got, we got it. My people are the most wonderful people in the world.
They're amazing. They're super qualified. There's never been a better qualified buyer.
Yep.
25 credit score, putting 5%. I'm like, really?
Yeah, not so much.
We did all our due diligence. We're good. So it's changed a little bit. So we've doubled inventory, but what have we seen that impact for you? Like what's happened there?
What we're seeing is on the high end market, stuff over $500,000. You're seeing some huge price decreases right now.
Yeah.
I mean, big price decreases. Orlando Business Journal just had an article out yesterday that the luxury market has had like an 18% decline in sales since the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of, everything going on, right? Rates go up. Like if it costs the buyer at $400,000 a lot more today than it did 6 months ago, you imagine that $1 million, $2 million, $3 million buyer, they're crying about the difference in their payment.
Oh my gosh, it's nuts. But the interesting thing, I go on and look at the Monday morning quarterback reports from Aura. Last week, for the first time, we saw a huge drop in sales. We went from an average of 600 to 450 sales.
Okay, so that's a big drop. That's
a big drop. So we saw sales go like this, okay, and inventory go like this.
Yeah,
inventories. It's curving up big time. So it means more opportunity. Orlando, compared to the rest of the United States, if you're looking at a lot of I watch a lot of different YouTube channels of different agents around the United States. Talk to several agents around the states. There's a lot of places that are already seeing price declines.
Yeah.
The Redfin came out with an article that the number of price decreases has jumped tremendously. Roughly 24% of all listings saw some type of price decrease in the past couple weeks. That's a lot, because we weren't seeing any price decreases whatsoever. And then I looked at the past 7 days for Stellar, and we had 152 price decreases, average of 2% across the board. So sellers are starting to get nervous.
Yeah.
Orlando's being very resilient compared to the rest of the country.
But it is interesting, and it's funny. Like, you know, anywhere that I go now, people what's the question that you get anywhere you go? Like, everybody,
when are prices going to decrease?
I was at the gym the other day, and everybody's like, "Are prices going down?" I'm working out mid-workout. Not that I work out a lot. It wasn't a pretty workout, but you know, it was one of those things where it's like somebody was like, "Hey, like, you know," and I was wearing like a brokers are better. So like, you know, what's that? And I said I was a mortgage, and it was like, well, are we going into a recession? What's it going to do to my value? Like, I'm so glad I bought my home 4 years ago, but like, what about interest? Like, there's a lot of worry, I feel, even for people not actively in the market.
No.
So you can imagine people in the market are having some kind of concerns as well.
Sellers are getting antsy. They're getting antsy because I've got a listing appointment later today, and I'm looking at the comps and looking at when the sales are. And you kind of have to start to take into consideration, well, what was the rate when that comparable sold in February? Well, the rate was, I think, roughly around 4%. And we're sitting at, we were about 5, 6, roughly.
Yep.
Today.
Yeah.
6.
5.875 to 6.25 on conventional, depending on how strong that borrower's credit ratio is. Not looking at discount points. People are buying down still, but
so you kind of have to look at and come in with a comparison. This is what the payment was back in February. This is what the payment is for someone who's buying today. So we can't really push that price way up. You know, we can probably be really equal, but we're not going to be able to push that price up like we had in the past. We're okay. Yeah, this one just sold for $300,000. Let's go ahead and put 310. You know.
There's no data trend now. And I think that's the funny part is, like, you know, sellers are scared. Like, what we just exited was an anomaly.
It was.
Markets don't act the way that they did the last year for long. The fact that it lasted a year, like, blew my mind.
Yeah. We had what, 6.6 million sales in the year, and I think this year they're projecting 4.6 million. That's 2 million sales off the market. That's a ton. You know? Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. Like, what I tell everybody, what I've been telling people, and I could be wrong, like, probably shouldn't be telling people this. You know, I'm not a realtor, I'm not anybody, but, you know, based off of what I see, I kind of say, hey, take it with a grain of salt. This is what I'm seeing as a mortgage broker, as an owner of a company. If a house is worth 400, 3, 4, 5 months ago, you could get 450 for it. And it was never worth 450,000. It was only worth 400,000. But the scarcity mindset, the fear mongering of getting in the home, the I'm gonna miss out, the FOMO, all these things that impacted buyers, they made, and let's just be honest, like, they made maybe rash decisions, or maybe what could be considered at times stupid decisions. I don't know. And sellers got accustomed to, well, if my house is worth 400, I can sell it for 10.
Let's wait more. Let's wait 3 more days and see how many more offers we have. Let's see if we can get 30.
and now it's kind of like, if your house is worth 400, you're gonna sell it for 400. Maybe you get 4 or 5.
It's interesting you mentioned FOMO, because the FOMO is going from the buyer to the seller, and I think that's one reason why you're seeing a lot of price decreases, because our average days on market is still sitting at 22. We went last week. We went from 19 to 22. 22 days. You got to wait 22 days on average to sell your house. You know, that's not a lot. That's not a lot of days. So it's one of those, sit on your hands and let's just watch it. But you're seeing people, you're seeing a lot of price decreases after the first week. Oh my God, didn't sell over the weekend. We must be priced too high. Let's cut the price $20,000.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on.
And then
hold on.
And then you saw, like, I mean, I'm sure you saw in those real estate groups where some agents are like, oh my gosh, my house is priced really well, but I'm not sold, and it's been 2 weeks. And I'm sitting here going, is it priced really well? Is it not priced? Like you're not getting showings. Usually these are basic.
Basic things.
If you're not getting showings, you're overpriced.
You're overpriced,
right?
Yep.
Like, so probably not priced very well. But the converse of this is, like, historically, like 2 weeks is nothing.
Yeah.
Like houses aren't selling in a day or 2 days or 3 days and having a bajillion offers.
Yep.
Like there's so many people that have gotten accustomed to it in such a short window. It's like all that experience, and maybe the problem is that we also had a million new agents flock to the market in the last 2 years.
And they've only seen the good. Yep. They've only seen the crazy, the really good, Yeah. And now it's like, oh, wait, I got to have some sales skills. I've got to go through and do real marketing on the house.
Now you got to,
I got to keep up with the follow up with everyone who's seen the house. Mm-hmm. Now it becomes a job. Now it becomes work.
I want to be Insta famous.
Yeah. And it's like, no, it's like, okay, it's back to normal, and it was Sentri-Link comes out every month with their data. Sentri-Link is basically, the little blue boxes when you go into a house.
Yeah.
That's Sentri-Link. They came out with a report yesterday. Nationally, there was a 24% drop year over year in showings through Sentri-Link. So that tells you one thing. Hey, the buyers are coming. The buyers are slowing down. The rates have taken a bit of a hit. But interestingly enough, they had it's not a lot, but it's a C to a start where they lost 2% of their agents who use the Sentri-Link. And you think of, it's pretty much used all over the country.
Yeah.
So 2%, it's probably 20 or 30,000 agents drop their service.
Yeah. What's going to be interesting as we continue to work through this year of how many agents don't, because, typically real estate's every 2 years for your state licensing.
Yeah, for state licensing.
And then
our dues are due in October.
So October. So that's probably, November will be the most interesting month, I think, for real estate to really get a picture, because how many people don't renew this year?
That's always an interesting thing.
For their realtor dues.
I saw one number where one person was saying we've got 20,000 agents right now. And it's like, man, that is a ton. And I always go back to, I always thought it was 18,000, but if you use 20,000 and you got 3,000 sales, there's a lot of starving agents out there.
Yep.
A lot of starving agents out there, So it's one of those things that's interesting, but looking at the numbers, we took a decline. I'm looking at it thinking, maybe it could be we had the federal holiday, the June 19th holiday, so maybe because we lost a day. So we'll see how numbers come next week.
Where it kind of comes.
Yeah, where the numbers come next week. See if that inventory. I think inventory is just going to continue to blow up. I think our average days on market, we're going to jump a couple days there as well. And then just keeping an eye on the price decreases.
Yeah.
One of the things I know I'm going to be doing for my clients is I've got pages set up where it just price decreases. Start sending them houses with price decreases on a daily basis. And
I think here's the key is, like, if you're buying a home, this is kind of good. I say that for buyers, this is kind of a good. It's good for buyers because more inventory is hitting the market. It's getting less competitive a little bit. So, instead of having 20 multiple offers, you might have 2 or 3. You're able to get a contract. You're not having to waive every contingency under the sun, which I don't agree with, but that's what a lot of people were being advised, and that's how they were getting. And I talked to an agent on a listing on a deal that somebody was submitting, one of my buyers was submitting to talk to the agent. I was like, hey, the buyer's solid, blah, blah, blah. And the agent straight up was like, well, I'm really concerned. We have an appraisal contingency on this. I'm sitting there and I was like, hey, like, you've been in the industry a long time. Like, appraisal contingencies aren't out of the norm. Like, that makes sense. And he's like, yeah, but I already know I'm overpriced. Like, and I've got other offers. And I said, great, take that other offer. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's part of the market is, and he's doing his job or for his seller, like, hey, get the highest and best. That's their job. But I think we're going to see that kind of balance out for buyers and for sellers. If you have to sell, like, this is the part that, I was talking to someone and they were like, well, I have to sell. And I'm like, great, then sell. You're like, yeah, but like the market's not as strong as it was. I was like, it's still strong. And I'm like, how long have you owned the house? And they were like, oh, I bought it in 2014. And I'm like, great. And I'm like, you're sitting on like,
you've doubled your equity easily.
You've got a massive amount of equity, and they never pulled additional equity out. Like, so it's not like they constantly refied and did cash outs. And I'm like, you got a massive, like, you're in a great position. Like, and they're like, yeah, but it's not multiple offers, and I'm not this, and I can't get more than, what if I can't get more than what I want to sell it for? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, are you listening to what you're saying?
Yeah.
You can't get more than what you want to sell it for. And I'm like, that, like, I don't want to crazy, but I'm like, we've seen 10 to 15% increase in value the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy that. Like, you're never, like, I don't want to say never, but you'll probably never see that again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the resetting levels of expectations for people is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
That really is the hardest thing, is because at some point someone's got to be the adult in the room and come back and pull, and literally pull them back. Hey, yes, the market's changed. Look at everything. The market's changed. I mean, the biggest thing that scared me in the past week was Jerome Powell coming out and basically saying he wants to reset the housing market. That scared the shit out of me and scared the shit out of a lot of people. The number one agent in Las Vegas had continuously been positive on the market. He actually did a YouTube yesterday where he flipped. I mean, 180 flip. And I was just like, whoa, okay. And his whole thing was, Jerome Powell says he wants a reset. What does a reset mean? Reset to what?
Yeah.
It's the big question. And I'm looking this month at what's coming up.
I mean,
tomorrow.
It feels like we already had a reset.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it feels like we were driving down the road, cruising along 100 miles an hour, and a deer jumped out in front of us and we just slammed on the brakes.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, now we're going to go 55. Now we're going to go the speed limit, 70.
Yep.
And it feels totally different. It's a totally different feel. It doesn't mean we're in a bad market. Quite honestly, Orlando is resilient. Lennar did their quarterly meeting this past week, and they are dropping prices throughout the country, except guess where? Florida. Their top 6 markets are all Florida. They're not dropping any pricing in Florida.
Yep.
What's it tell you? Resiliency.
Yep.
We have the resiliency. And you continually look at the numbers, and you're getting all this noise over here about every place else in the country, and the numbers in Orlando, consistent. We're consistent, continually consistent, and it's a nice feeling. It makes you a little nervous because you're questioning, but it's like, no, we're staying steady. Yeah. We're staying steady. And as long as, I think with the number of people moving here, just the whole, living in Orlando, a lot of people really like it. I mean, I still get probably half of the leads from my webpage are people moving here from out of state, New York, Chicago. I just closed a gentleman from Chicago yesterday who relocated for AT&T. And then I got like 5 people looking to move down here, either 1 retirement or 2 relocation because of their jobs. Yep. So it's a very, very resilient market, which is great for us. Yeah. Great for everybody. I think the other thing that's good to see is investors are pulling out of the markets. They're down. Their purchases are down 18% from beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So they're holding their money.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tells me that, hey, we've topped out.
Yeah.
You know, we've topped out. They're looking at their ROI, you know, which with the price increases, they've gone from about 7% down to, I think it was roughly 4% is the number I saw. Mm-hmm. That's a tight margin. It's a tight margin. So they're kind of pulling back, which means, again, more opportunities for buyers.
Yep.
So if I'm a buyer, I'm starting to look. The one thing that makes me nervous is the July meeting for the Fed.
Yeah.
You know, are they going to do another half a point, 0.75 rate increase?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think
we got.
I mean, I feel like
that's where we got a lot of interesting numbers, because tomorrow GDP comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Are we in a recession? What's the definition of recession? 2 quarters.
2 quarters.
You know what I think they're going to do? They're going to come out with like a 0.2, 0.3 increase initially.
And then
they're going to revise it.
Yeah.
Then they're going to revise it. So you got that number. And then when does inflation come out? Like the 14th?
I think it's mid-month. Yeah.
Yeah, mid-month, 14th. So then you got the inflation report. And what happens if we, quote, in a recession with high inflation? What does the Fed do?
Yeah.
That's the unknown question.
Yep.
You know, I know in my head, I think I know what they're going to do. But
yeah, well,
that one I'll keep to myself.
Let's hold it. No, but I think, like you said, it's, you know, Florida's been resilient. We've seen a lot of opportunities, but it is, you know, there's times when these Fed reports don't mean as much, and they always mean something, but like where they have very little impact because everything's going well.
Yep.
You know, but right now we're in a point where these Fed meetings, and these, you know, national reports can have major impacts on the housing market, on interest rates, and on what happens, because we're not in as strong of a economic time as we once were. And there's no hiding it anymore.
No, there's not. It was interesting because when I was opening up the browser today, one of the headlines was the Dow futures were down 300% on waiting for GDP report tomorrow.
Yep.
So that tells me a lot of people are thinking the GDP
is going to be
bad.
Yep. That's why, you know, I think you're right. They'll probably show very minimal. They'll show maybe 0.1 or something like that, just to try to calm it down and then revise it. Mm-hmm. That's just going to kick the reaction down a week or 2 or 3.
Yep. Yeah. So but good morning. That was one. I enjoyed that one. We will talk again next week. We'll see how the numbers come out. We got the holiday coming up.
Yep.
But we also had end of month. So we'll see how that number for sales, if it stayed down or did it come back up.
Yep.
Because we've been resilient at that roughly 600 sales per week in the Orlando area. So, all right. Thank you so much, Joe. We will chat with you later. Have a wonderful 4th of July.
Hey, you as well.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.